What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Monday to the Truck Parking Clubhouse. I'm your guy, Lombard Trucking. Got you for the next 30, 45 minutes. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. You're staying safe. May the 4th be with you if you're out there hauling freight throughout the galaxy, so to speak. But other than that, about 34 minutes ago, Taillights just dropped in your inbox. Definitely go check it out. We got a survey in there. We know that DOT Blitz Week is coming up next week. So just know that Truck Parking Club is here for you, for everybody trying to get into. I know the big highlight for DOT Blitz Week are those electronic logs, hours of service, staying within compliance, but also at the same time, if you need to make any of those quick last minute repairs, you can download the Truck Parking Club app, cycle through those amenities, find a place. We've got a lot of locations with repair shops, good people, repair shops that we're partnered with that can help you out. So that way you can stay safe if you're rolling strong during DOT Blitz Week next week. And again, stay clean on those hours. Watch out for those hours violations. You can utilize your whole clock by instantly book and reserving with Truck Parking Club, or you can get close to your delivery shippers, receivers. You don't have to worry about rolling over those hours of service. You can go get yourself some truck parking between now and then. But without any further delay, I want to bring back on one of my very good friends, excellent content creator. He gets after it out there, the Rambling Nomad himself. What's going on, brother?
Howdy, howdy. Just same old out here. About trying to pick up a load in about 4 hours, so I have time to do this interview. Appreciate you inviting me back on.
Yeah, man, it's good to have you back on there. Where you at?
I'm in Plaster City, California, picking up some gypsum.
Awesome. And now, what's got you waiting down there? Is the load not ready yet?
It's probably ready. It's just I've got a line of trucks. It's hit or miss. Sometimes you're in and out, and other times you wait half a day or longer here. So yeah, I'm
And
okay. I'm gonna get a workout in after this. So
Exactly, and we're going to go into that stuff, what you do with how you manage your time, and for guys staying fit. And again, if you're tuning in live, just know every Monday in Taillights, I drop a little health tip of the week in there. There's something, and I kind of cycle some of those around as the subscribers go up. There's some good information to always reiterate. And this week, I talk a little bit about sleep, and I think maybe time management and finding that time for movement is another good thing to slide in for next week. So there's a line of trucks in front of you. Now, what's the commodity again you're picking up? What is that?
gypsum drywall.
Okay, so it's just some drywall stuff.
Yep.
Nice. Let's go. So you're hanging out for a little bit. Well, let's dive right in, man. I know you came on here a couple months back, but for anybody who doesn't know the Ramblin' Nomad, would love to hear your story.
Sure. I got into trucking about 7 years ago now. Before that, I was just working as a psychiatric tech at a psych hospital, just considering maybe doing nursing because it paid well and it would allow me to travel. But there was quite a long line to get into nursing school, and it really wasn't a good fit for me because I don't want to be indoors, and uh, I'm not the best with small details and all that. So, anyways, I don't know. I think I saw a YouTuber that I don't know if he still trucks a prime truck YouTuber back in the day that inspired me, and so that's what I did. I got a they paid for a bus ticket, Prime Inc., and I went and was with them for about 6 years flatbed, and decided to take a few months off, and now I'm with Central Oregon the last little bit over a year, and love flatbed, and just over the years, I mean, I've always kind of struggled with overeating. It runs in the family and stuff, and especially once I became a trucker, and then COVID hit, I just let the food get the best of me and put on about 40 pounds. And yeah, gradually over time, started having more health issues, was pre-diabetic for a while, tried to do things on my own, and I gained and lost weight, did the whole yo-yo thing, and now I'm finally locking in. The last about 8 months I've been working with a trainer that specializes in what's called metabolic priming, or it's basically a reverse diet which utilizes high carbs to um, basically upregulate your metabolism, and that actually got me out of being pre-diabetic. Before that, I had tried carnivore and low carb, and I enjoyed doing those, but it never. I was, cortisol spikes, and over time it'll mess with your thyroid, and I think that's what was happening with me with working so much out here on top of it. So yeah, this is the leanest I've been in over a decade, and I'm on my second reverse diet right now, getting me back up to eating 3 to 4,000 calories a day. 4 to 500 carbs a day. And then in probably about 2 months when I hit that, I'll do another cut and hopefully I'll have a six pack for the first time in my life before I'm 40. So that's the goal.
Let's go. So that's the goal. And I tell people that when I'm talking coaching, whenever I'm really preaching health and fitness stuff, the most important thing is health. And you mentioned the pre-diabetic part. Like I know when I talk about my testimony in my journey, I share about how at 27 I was told, like, I was kind of recommended I could be on a cholesterol medication. And at 27 years old, and when people hear diabetic or pre-diabetic, those are normally the warning signs, and really the overall goal when it comes to health, fitness, and wellness. I mean, that's got to be number one. Number one has got to be, if vanity is your number one, a lot of times that's where people fall short, or they reverse, or they quit, because your overall goal, is something that you've put up on this pedestal, so to speak. And I'm not saying that's the case for everybody. This is just what it is for for most people, because sometimes a lot of people will, oh, I got to lose weight for this wedding, and then they do it, they lose weight for the wedding, and then after the wedding, boom, it's right back. They didn't set themselves up with sort of habits that were sustainable to have them continue to live healthier. And so when vanity is the only metric you're chasing, it just becomes this one prize on a pedestal, and then once you get it, then what, so to speak. But when overall health and being there is the long-term goal, it's better. But but along the way, again, once you're in a process to where whatever your lifestyle is, where we're living a healthier lifestyle as part of it, it's very much okay to go on and chase a little bit of vanity. Appreciate you commenting, Aurelius. I know what you said sounds horrible. I would love to hear about what you said sounds horrible about what we're talking about, whether it's a diet. But yeah, I'd love to dive more into this fitness stuff. So you started gaining weight when you got over the road.
Yep. Yeah, because after my first year, I didn't really make a whole lot the first year, but then as soon as I got the first year, my income pretty much doubled. I don't know. That's probably, I don't know if that's common in the industry or not, but anyways, and then COVID hit right at that time, and I had all this time to myself, and I don't know, I just got bored, and for the first time, I had more than enough money to just go to town and buy whatever I wanted at Walmart. So that's what I did, and I don't know, it creeped up. I put on weight pretty fast, and then it was a challenge just managing it and getting it down, which I was able to do because I had worked with a buddy of mine who was a personal trainer back in 2016, and I was going to the gym and I got pretty lean then, but it was a completely different lifestyle. I wasn't sitting as much as you do, truck driving, and I was only working like 36 hours a week, not 70. So it really was a challenge. And, I think the first couple of years trucking, and also I was leasing a truck, so I had a lot of responsibility as a newbie. I think I just needed, and I was also training my third year. I started training, so it was at that point that I really needed to take the fitness seriously, because training, I only slept like 5 hours a night, and the health issues started to really escalate at that point. So I started, lifting weights with the Bowflex, and I put on a good amount of muscle. But like I said, the diet piece, I never knew how to reverse diet. That's been the key for me, is to, when you get down into those, 1800 calorie ranges at the bottom of your cut, how do you come out of that in a way that's sustainable, that isn't going to pack on a bunch of fat? And this is the first time in my life I've been able to do that successfully. Um, so I don't know. I've kind of forgot the initial question. I hope I answered it.
Yeah, no, I was basically talking about how when you first started gaining weight, because I'd love to hear about you lost, because this reverse dieting thing is a concept that I've been talking about with a lot, with just a lot of different drivers, about how sometimes you could be losing weight, you could not be losing weight because you're not eating enough. And what ends up
Hmm.
happening is, you can starve yourself throughout the week, and then people will binge on like the fifth or sixth day, and then that kind of what puts you over. You binge for those 2 days, and then you go back to cutting, and it doesn't allow your body's digestion and metabolism to catch up. So I'd love to hear about this kind of reverse dieting process. And also, I mean, your experience currently working with a coach. You're working with a coach, you're working with a trainer. Is this something you recommend drivers do? And what does that look like?
Yes, I would, because statistically, I think it's 98% of people will gain the weight back plus more. And a lot of that has to do with, unfortunately, a lot of what you hear in the dieting world is not sustainable. It's still a lot of focusing on fad diets or yo-yo diets, and it's not a long-term sustainable approach, which is not as sexy. It's kind of boring to have to do it that way. But um, I'm a pretty stubborn person, so I tried for you know over a decade to do things on my own. And again, I made some progress, but it's for me, it's the information of the reverse diet, but even more than that, it's the accountability and it's the offloading the cognitive stuff to my coach. And then also the monthly payments. Having that pain point or that commitment of financially saying, this is something that I really want to achieve. Like if and it's just it may for other people, if they can do it on their own and without spending any money and stuff and without accountability, they're go for it. I just know for me, I need that extra um, pain point because I will make every excuse to change the diet up or change the schedule up because I have ADHD. I need a lot of novelty. So there's still some flexibility in what I'm doing, and my coach understands that. But there's, for instance, my macros. I have to stay within 5 grams, give or take, of each macronutrient, or I can't. He won't make any changes. For me the next week. So I have to be pretty locked in. So, as far as the reverse diet goes, what they've taught me is so when I first got on it, I weighed about 195. And by the end of it, I was 193. But if you look at the before and after pictures, the body recomposition was insane as far as how much muscle I had put on and how much fat I had lost with the scale staying the same. And this was increasing calories. I went from eating about 2,300 calories to 3,200, and I lost fat doing that. And when you talk about this to most people, they think you're lying or they don't understand the process of what's happening. But it's a metabolic adaptation. Your metabolism, and carbs is the most um, thermically. What is the like compared to fat and well, protein's pretty thermically active, but carbs really basically raises your baseline metabolic rate, so how many calories you burn at rest per day. So that's why there's this focus, at least with this program, with adding as many carbs as your body can handle without putting on fat, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Carbs themselves are, I mean, they're the energy source you're going to burn first. So when you're out there doing your regular work, flatbedding, everything, like your body's going to be using those carbohydrates to just continuously to fuel it and fuel the muscles and fuel everything going on. And that's good because I think one of the biggest things I stress to drivers is to not fall in line with certain fad diets because of the sustainability of it and how
Hmm.
even if it works for over a year, at some point, like if it leads to some sort of relapse again, and anything based off of, I like to emphasize anything based off of restriction. Again, just almost like if your only goal is vanity, when you have restricted yourself, when you have walled off options, when you remove, like when you can't do things, the pressure's on. You're putting a lot of unnecessary pressure on yourself. Appreciate some of the commenters jumping in on this on YouTube and on Instagram. Armsy says this is a great thing, loves it, keeping it up, which is what I kind of want to get to next. What does exercise and movement look like for you? What's your weekly schedule look like, and how do you incorporate exercise and working out into your day-to-day life while you're over the road?
Yeah, so for me, it is kind of all over the place, I think, for the average person, because again, my ADHD, I needed a lot of novelty, not just with my diet, but also with working out. So I get bored pretty easily. But for the most part, I try to get workouts in before I start my day when I have the most energy and when I've eaten the majority of my carbs. Uh, but there's times where days where I'm really busy and I have to split up the workout into 2 or 3 different sessions. And then there's also times where I work out after I end for the day. So it depends, but I mainly do dumbbell workouts, body weight workouts, and resistance band workouts. And for my cardio, I have been, as I've lost fat, it's a lot more comfortable for me to run now. And I'm getting old and I have some like skateboarding injuries and stuff. And I just dropped a 10-pound plate on my foot the other day and my big toe tendon's all messed up. But anyways, I can run, still, but I am getting out to do that more. But um, what has really worked for me is having the fold out bike for cardio. And another reason I like doing it is because I can zone out, I can get my cardio in, and I can be on my phone and edit, for social media since I'm, doing the day in the life, trying to show drivers, giving a glimpse of, how you can be active, you can have a gym on the truck, in certain circumstances. I mean, if you have a team, if you have, other people on the truck, that could definitely be an issue, but it can be done. So as far as my schedule goes, I aim for, if I'm in a cut, especially towards the end of the cut, I do 2 to 3 workouts, and hit every body part 2 to 3 times a week. But when I'm increasing my calories, I try to aim for at least 4 to 5. And some weeks I get 6 in. It just depends how much energy I have. But I track everything, and like I said, I hit the all of the different body parts at least once, if not twice a week. So you can argue, is that the most optimal for muscle building? It's I hit the bare minimum because again, my thing is, with our schedules out here, any type of movement is important. And if I can optimize that over time, I will, but I'm not going to beat myself up because I'm not running a perfect program, So, and I also have a little step machine. Anyways, oh, it's right here.
I was gonna say you could give us one of our standard listeners. There we go. The step
Yeah,
machine baseball pro. He always asks for a little truck tour, so I'd love to see any of the stuff you
yeah,
got set up there.
yeah. Sure,
It's
I'll show you. My
that's
truck's a little messy right now, but I'll show you guys.
that step
So,
machine right there. That's it. And that will that count your steps on like a smartwatch or a
yeah,
tracker?
it has a little digital tracker on it. Yep. And then I don't know if you guys can see, this is where I keep my bike. It folds up, and then I just ratchet strap it to the passenger seat. And then behind here, I have my weights ratchet strapped, or at least my Bowflexes. I'm going to leave these when I go for home time. I'm going to leave them because I bought some new dumbbell set from Walmart that is smaller and easier to move around. I've got a Kenworth T680, so there's not a whole lot of room. I used to have a Cascadia, and the Bowflex were better for that. So I bought it, and I have plates under here, under my bed. I don't
Oh,
know if you guys can
let's
see.
go.
Yeah, I got a bunch of plates. And I also have a barbell. I keep the barbell behind the bed too, and doing some forearm exercises with the barbell the other night, which was awesome. Um, I guess the bands I keep up here. I have like a bungee and just kind of fold them, and then I use a foot plate. Let's see, where's my bar? This is my resistance band bar that I attach. I got this at Walmart, although you can order some offline. And then I use a cutting board with these little furniture stoppers under them, so I can elevate it to put the resistance band underneath, and that creates a platform to create better, like a closed loop resistance. And my Amazon product, I don't know if I can plug it right now or not, but I am developing my own push-up board slash footboard with resistance bands. And anyways, I'll have that out on the market in a couple of months after I get the sample and test it out. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy all the different, like I said, the variety and stuff. So that keeps me. And I will get to Planet Fitness and Anytime Fitness. It just depends on parking. With my company I'm with, I can't drop the trailer, so I'm limited. But but you can definitely get to the gym out here. And then I also work primarily out west, so it's a little harder. The gyms are more spaced out, and not all of them stay open 24/7 out here.
Yeah, when I learned that anytime you're in the Western 11, when it comes to finding a Planet Fitness, it's kind of it's few and far between because
Yep.
it's so spread out in the Western 11. But man, I'll tell you that step machine, we're gonna have to find a link for that, and I think we got to post it on our socials because between mine and truck parking close because that right there, um, 20 minutes on that thing. Like if you're
Oh
somebody
yeah.
if you're somebody who does not, who doesn't have any sort of exercise routine or anything you're doing, and you're a driver who's looking to make a change in your health, that step machine right there, you can quite literally stand on that. And if you want to, and because I say this all the time, drivers do have the time because I see them in the comments section quite often on social media. And if you've got time to be on the comment section, you've got time to either pick some stuff up or go move those legs. And that step counter or that little standalone step thing right there can add years onto somebody's life right there.
It gets your heart rate up.
Yeah, you can, and that's the thing. It's all at your own pace. When it comes to tracking, so you track your food, and this is something I try to, anybody who is just starting out when it comes to health and fitness, I try not to overload somebody with tracking because tracking, I had to wait until I did. I kind of changed what I ate first, and then I got on board with tracking because I wanted to dial up. I was ready to level up mentally. Whereas tracking can seem like another hurdle. Like it makes weight loss seem too hard, seem too unattainable with all the other stuff you have going on. But it's really when you zoom out, I compare tracking to the same thing an owner operator does, which is or the same thing any individual should do with their money, which is, you work with a financial advisor. How much do I make? How much do I spend? What's my paycheck? What are my bills? This is what I have left over. This is the money I've got. And food kind of works the same way in the environment we're in, and especially if you're a driver. Hey, how much am I eating? How much am I burning? You've got to figure out actually how much you're eating, and that's down to the weight of the chicken breasts. But what's really great, and I know people are on the go, there's barcode scanners. What have you been using for tracking, and what's your nutrition kind of look like on your day to day?
Yeah. Well, I'll show you guys real quick my setup. So I weigh myself every morning, and I put it, because the truck isn't necessarily level. And on days where maybe I'm parked, it will be unlevel, like in areas that aren't completely flat. But I put it on top of the cutting board, and that creates more of a better platform than the truck floor. Um, and so yeah, that obviously really helps to keep me on track with that. But as far as the food, so my macros right now are 200 grams of protein, 50 grams of fat, and 300 carbs. And I have to do that every single day. So in a lot of my videos, I eat. Um, I'm just now getting to the point where I'm efficient enough to start cooking. But for a while there, I was doing a lot of prepackaged foods just because the macros are right there. You don't have to weigh anything. Prepackaged single protein shakes, bagels, English muffins, that kind of thing. But now I'm doing a lot of just scaling on a small scale from Walmart. I also don't do dishes, so I buy the, paper plates and bowls. So I'll just put the bowl, tear it so it's zero. And then I'm having a lot of like shredded wheat cereal for breakfast and stuff lately, get the fiber in and everything. And it also helps with satiety and hunger and all that. And that's pretty much how I weigh it out. And then I still, I haven't gone back to getting the bulk protein. I'm kind of spoiled. I get the individual proteins and I'll add that. Um, and as far as protein goes, I've been cooking some eggs lately, and there's this really good brand of breaded chicken called Real Good. The macros are incredible because usually the already cooked chicken has too much fat in it. But yeah, there's good macros with that. But it's really not that unless you're cooking from scratch. Tracking your food isn't like you. There is a learning curve the first week or so, but it becomes pretty automatic pretty quickly. It's really not. It does take, a mental load and focus and stuff. So, um, it's something that, you're gonna have to have that commitment to initially. But once it's automatic, it's like it's just it like you said, it's so important though, because you will not see changes to your body composition if you don't track, unless you're really, in a deficit. And I mean, for some people, they're more connected and they understand their bodies intuitively, and maybe they have good genetics or whatever, and they don't have to track as much. But for me, that's not the case.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm the same kind of way. And now you've been on the road for quite a bit. You've been, I think you told me before you came on, you've been trucking. You haven't rolled back through the house, and you said I think 6 months it's been. So you've
Yeah.
been true road dogging it, living over the road. Where have you been grocery shopping, and how do you find the time to get to the grocery store?
I just go to Walmart. I mean, I do want to start trying to get to like health food stores if I can, and I'm single, so I can afford. I like my company a lot, so I get paid well, and so I can afford to go to health food stores. I have heard that Aldi is pretty awesome, and has a lot of natural selections or whatever for really cheap. But for the most part, like I said, since I can't drop my trailer, Walmart is pretty much where I go. And I have certain Walmarts that I park at that I know, don't, put boots on trucks. So I'll just spend the night and either shop late at night when there's no trap, not too many people there, or I'll go first thing in the morning before I head out. So I'll do that like twice a week.
Awesome. And
And yeah.
you squeezing in there on like 34-hour resets, or when are you able to get in?
So I actually run recaps. I just prefer it because if I do resets, I'm just too tired to do anything else on the day off. But yeah, I'll just make sure I'm in and out within. I mean, I can do it within 20-30 minutes, but there's other times that it's 2 hours I'm in there if I'm shopping for clothes or something too. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess during the day I'm trying to think. For the most part, like I said, I'll route plan, and I'll spend the night there, and that's the easiest. But there are some days where I've got a little extra time, and I can hit one up just, for that 30 minutes or whatever.
Absolutely. No, good stuff. And to anybody out there who's listening and watching, again, you can follow along with how the Ramblin' Nomad stays healthy over the road on all social media platforms. And one last thing to be said about tracking that's really important is tracking allows you to figure out if you're somebody who doesn't want to track your food because you think it's either monotonous or you think it's an extra step or you shouldn't have to. It helps you figure out what you like, and that's what's going to actually help you lose weight. Like you're able to find the cheat codes. You start looking at what has the least amount of calories with the most protein. You realize you can eat, like I made lunch and dinner was basically the same thing for me. So I was grocery shopping in and out. I was out in 20 minutes because I was getting the same stuff all the time because I knew that hot sauce and mustard can make anything taste good. So when it came to the vegetables, or if I was eating rice, nothing was bland. And once you figure out which has the low no calories, I mean, it's the ultimate cheat code. You find exactly what you enjoy, how to make it the most enjoyable, and you stick with that and you see results. And that goes from just building a habit that might take you just like 2 weeks, and you can do anything for 2 weeks.
That and I get crap sometimes in the comments, which I understand, but I'm just being honest, like with what's worked for me. I'm not trying to present myself as some sort of, perfect fitness influencer or anything like that. I'm just showing what's worked for me out over the road. And so a lot of actually my cut, I was just in a cut for 4 to 5 months. And again, it's a slow one. So it's not a dramatic change, but I mean, I have lost over 20 pounds of fat in the last 7 months and put on significant muscle. But I will eat foods that I like that are not considered, necessarily healthy, like Rice Krispie treats are one of my go-tos. And some days are, I don't eat, what is considered a healthy, well-rounded diet. But what's most important to me is, am I sticking to my macros? Am I sticking to, losing the fat and changing my body composition and keeping my um, my biomarkers in the healthy range because, again, when I started, I was pre-diabetic and I had a C-reactive protein score in the high on the higher average risk of cardiovascular events or whatever. And since I've been doing this high carb reverse diet, my A1C went from 5.8 down to 5.0, which is perfect, and it hasn't been that low in since I started trucking pretty much. And my C-reactive protein is in the low risk. So for me, high carbs. I know there's a lot of guys that are doing low carb, and if that works and their labs are good, then don't change it. But for me, I needed, I guess, because the whole thing is uh, by avoiding carbs, you don't necessarily fix the underlying insulin resistance. So, but it's the combination of fat and carbs at the same time that can cause that issue with insulin sensitivity. And so, if you strategically refeed yourself with carbs, it teaches your body again how to process them. And so that's what worked for me. But anyways, my point is you can eat foods that you love as long as they're in your macros. Now, I will say that if you don't eat, good nutrition, and especially if you don't also supplement, which I do, if I have days where I don't eat, a lot of vegetables or fruits, I do have, my powdered greens and stuff that because it will help with energy and performance if you do eat well. But you don't have to be perfect, and most truckers aren't, so I know most truckers are used to truck stop food and stuff, but it doesn't have to be this monotonous suffering getting in shape. I've actually really enjoyed it. So um, yeah, so
That
just get started with something.
100%. That is the point I drive home. That is the cheat code with following and tracking macros is you don't have to give up anything, is nothing's a punishment. You didn't screw up, you didn't do anything wrong. Like you don't have to quote unquote give anything up to reach your goals. Again, from like I did not give up anything to run 5 marathons as a driver over the road. I didn't give anything up. Like nothing was given up. I had the barbecue at the cool place, Exit 87 barbecue, shout out. I've had the ice cream wherever I'm at, but but when you're consistently good, that's the key phrase right there. You're always better off being consistently good versus occasionally great. When you are consistently good over that time, when you take 30 days in a month and 27 of those days were perfect, or 30 of those days were good, but because you break it down into meals. If you're eating 5 times a day, what's 5 times 5? You're 25. You're eating anywhere from 25 to 28 times per week. And so if 3 or 4 of those times you eat, you go a little overboard, or you have something you're not supposed to, that's still, if you're eating 28 times a week, that's still 24 out of 28 where you were locked in. And when you get that over a month, you're looking at only a slight percentage. You're still going to get towards your goals, especially as you incorporate movement, and it doesn't lead you towards failure. So great mentality, great mindset to have. I'd love to and would love to shift gears for a little bit, to give you a moment. You stay healthy over the road, but you work for a company that you like. You're grinding hard, but you're somebody, you talk about it quite a bit. You're somebody who's also trying to earn a little bit of extra income while you're working over the road. What have you been getting in on? Talk a little bit of finances for you. What else have you kind of been, because being healthy, that's what I tell people, is the healthier I got over the road, the more I got involved with, that's why I joined OIDA, and that's why I made the podcast and created content, because I had more energy, more time to give. And it seems like you're involved in some other stuff. You got some stuff going on with Amazon, so I would love to hear about it.
Sure, yeah, that's the biggest thing is I've just been paying this company that two brothers that worked, the corporate life when they were like 18 to 22, and they just got bored with it, and they ended up making $10 million creating private label products on Amazon. So I hired them to help me create a product. I mean, I didn't have the time to actually do all the specs and everything myself, but I told them what my vision was, and they put it together, and it's I'm getting the first samples sent out. Should be sending out here in a week. So the other competitors that are on Amazon right now, the biggest competitor in that niche, or that for that product makes about 290,000 a month. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. They estimated that it could, bring in a profit of 13K a month, which would be amazing. It would give me the ability to buy my own truck and to go, a lot more, to commit a lot more time to doing this social media influencer thing. I mean, I have a big, a broader vision of how I want to inspire people, and that's the coolest thing is that, I get I had like 20 different people buy because that's the other one of the other ways I've been making a little bit of money. It's not a lot, but I affiliate links for, like the bike. I get a lot of questions about where did you get that bike. So I've had 20 people order in the last week, truckers, the fold up bike for their trucks. And I get paid a little bit from Facebook now. I'm not monetized yet on YouTube, but that's another potential income source. But that really is probably going to come more from long form content, which I don't really have a lot of time to shoot and edit right now. And then I am training a few people. I'm just doing kind of, because I'm new to the fitness trainer thing, and just charging a little bit right now for the first, round of folks that I'm working with for testimonials. And other than that, the last month I've been putting together. I hired some designers off of Fiverr, and I've had this vision for a couple of years. But initially, I was gonna do different materials, but I'm starting a trucker fitness apparel company. So I'll have that launched probably in about a month after I get the samples and make sure that they're good. But yeah, I'm just trying to come up with some side hustles, and well, I want them to become my main hustle. I enjoy trucking, but the industry is kind of up in the air in certain ways right now, and especially with, I mean, luckily the company I'm with, they're pretty solid, and I would say recession proof, but um, it's just nice in this economy. I think it's nice to just double down, and any other streams of income that you can diversify to go for it. But again, my ADHD, I think I'm meant to do entrepreneurial stuff. It keeps me, focused and excited. And I've got a lot of other ideas too, but I won't go into that until I'm actually taking action on them. But yeah, I've had some success, and of course, truck parking club. Um, so,
Oh
but
yeah,
yeah, I
man.
mean, if drivers have the time, there's so many different side hustles that they can get into. I know some drivers have had success with doing trading. I haven't gotten into that yet, but that's something that I might eventually look into. But I say go for it.
Yeah, always double like if you've got an interest in something, or if you've got an itch, definitely scratch it. Let us know about those t-shirts, by the way, because this is basically the only t-shirt I wear. So anything to diversify the t-shirt wardrobe, we're definitely all ears. It
Sure.
Yeah, last thing, you mentioned that with Truck Parking Club, and we partner with you because you lead by example out there over the road. Would love to hear about any you've stayed at a couple of our locations recently. I would love to hear how uh some of our properties have came in handy for you, either for working out or just in general, because I know you always share like the use case as to why you decided on a certain location. So I'd love to hear about any locations you stayed at recently that came in clutch for you.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, last night I didn't. I forgot to actually do a review because I haven't done a review in a few weeks. But I stayed at it's a brand new lot in Chandler, Arizona, outside Phoenix. So Phoenix is pretty hard to find parking at after a certain hour, and it was about 9:30 that I stopped, and that was awesome. A big gated lot with a porta potty, and the gate, yeah, was locked. You get a code, and they had security too. Um, one spot that I like a lot, I sometimes will deliver to the San Francisco area, and in Fremont, I believe it is. There's one space behind, just like an industrial park that is right down the street from the receiver. And again, there's no parking out usually in that area. There's no truck stops or anything. So I really enjoy that one. Sorry, my phone thing keeps falling. Um, and that also has a porta potty. But it's just I've really enjoyed truck parking club locations because it takes a lot of stress off of, it gives me more flexibility to do workouts and go shopping, knowing that where I'm going to be parking that night instead of having to rush and try to park early. So it's definitely helped with that. And I'm trying to think of some other ones recently that were awesome. I'm having a brain fart, but there's lots of them. There's one. I mean, some of them are really beautiful too. There's one that I stopped at in Tennessee that's overlooking the mountains. I mean, and that's another big reason why I like stopping at them. Besides the convenience of not having parking or the them being close to the receivers or whatever, is just they're a lot more peaceful. Usually, there's not you don't have to park next to trucks idling all night, and you can actually hear the birds and just have a little privacy and quiet. So so I've enjoyed it. So I appreciate you linking me up with this company, and yeah, I'll continue to make reviews, and that's crazy that I know that you guys were at what 3,000 location count just a few months back, and now you guys are at 5,000. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd have to go back and
people are
check
catching
the.
on.
I'd have to go back and check the last video you came on, what the location count is. That's why we keep that counter in the bottom corner of that live stream to know, because I mean, that 5,000 mark, if that just happened, and now we're already up. And for anybody who's listening, again, I mentioned at the top of the podcast, because I got one last question before I let you go for the night, because I know you want to work out. But a lot of these locations that we've been adding on, that's one of the reasons why we've got some of these reviews out there. Is so many of them are repair shops. They're fenced, gated, lights, secure. They're at places that are near better food options. They're places near, like you said, Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix is tough. I'm pretty sure there's that pilot there, and I mean that thing gets pretty rowdy around Phoenix. These are tough locations, and the types of people the types of property owners we've been partnering with recently have just been a huge plus for drivers, whether it's food, whether it's amenities, whatever it is they need. And again, make sure to cycle through those amenities as you're looking for parking. But last, what is that? A safety shirt?
Yeah, so the one I parked at last night, it's called Arizona Big Rig. They gave me a free T-shirt.
Oh, let's go. Yeah, show that. AZ Big Rig. Did somebody just? Oh no, somebody just mentioned on Instagram they love Arizona. AZ Big Rig Parking and Storage. Hey, take a
Yeah,
picture of that shirt. Send me a
sure,
picture. Send me that picture. A picture of that
sure.
shirt, because that's pretty
Yeah, it's got a
awesome.
American flag on the side. It's a good shirt. It's good quality. So, anyways,
There you go. So if you're at AZ Big Rig, if you're in Arizona, you can use the promo code Nomad20. You get $20 off that booking, and you get yourself a T-shirt. And oh, what were you gonna say? Something?
yeah, just the another reason why I like parking at these locations is safety. Just having that security in the gate, you know, peace of mind. So,
And somebody dropped a funny comment on Instagram about they met somebody interesting outside of Tucson, Arizona recently. So yeah, you got some people in the AZ area who are commenting on Instagram. Appreciate you guys for tuning into the live. But so DOT Blitz Week next week, are you rolling strong through it? You notice anything different that goes on during Blitz Week? What are some what's your game plan, and what's your advice for drivers?
well, we have to be on top of everything at this company, so I'm not too concerned. But I just noticed trucks being pulled over more often on the side of the road, and being pulled into way stations. But yeah, I I guess I don't really think about it too much, just because it's you know, we have to be on top of stuff or we're out pretty much. There's which is understandable. But yeah, no, I don't really think about it too much. But yeah, be safe out there next week. If you guys are concerned, just be on top of your permits and everything. Do the pre-trip. Every morning I have to send in pictures. I get some comments sometimes on my videos because I post that I do my pre-trip and everything. They're like, "You actually do your pre-trip?" Like, yeah, no, I do. I have to send in the pictures and everything. So I'm good to go for next week. But yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how people will admit, or they think because it's the internet. I think people think because it's the internet, they can kind of say what they want, but it's like
Yeah.
somewhere or another, especially as AI keeps advancing, they're going to find their drivers who are going to be like commenting on your videos saying, you actually do your pre-trip, and then they're going to call that
Yeah.
driver and be like, hey, what are you up to? And
Yeah.
they're gonna find them out. But that's good. So before we sign off, where can the people find you? Where can they follow the Ramblin' Nomad journey so they can get motivated?
Sure. It's pretty much just Ramblin' Nomad, RAMBLIN no G, Nomad NOMAD on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. And if anybody has any questions or wants to talk to me directly, you can DM me, or my email is theRamblinNomad@gmail.
I'm going to drop down in the comments, theramblingnomad@gmail.com for him to contact. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming onto the Clubhouse on this beautiful Monday night, Monday evening for you out there on the on West Coast time. We'll definitely circle back with you in a couple of months. We'd love to hear about any updates, especially with the t-shirts and everything you've got going on. But other than that, thank you to everybody who tuned in to this Monday's Clubhouse. As always, we partner with guys like the Ramblin' Nomad. If you've been listening for the last 45 minutes, this is a gentleman who wants to help leave this industry better and healthier than he found it. That is exactly what we're doing here at Truck Parking Club. We help truckers save time and fuel by instantly reserving truck parking nationwide. And for any of those health and fitness tips, we got you. And if you need truck parking tonight or through Blitz Week, again, you can use Nomad 20 right at the bottom of your screen. We got you guys. But with that, take care, stay safe. We'll see you back here next week, next Monday, 7:30 p.m., roughly Central Time. Take care. Hammer down.